our most recent grand champion of the Spokane Fair. Everybody knows him, or most of you know him.
I don't know where he went though.
Tony Orpel.
Where are you, Tony?
I'm up here in the.
Yay, Tony.
Here I am.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I think you all have different positions on different people's screens. Okay. So, yeah. How many saw Tony's beautiful frog entry for the Interstate Fair and was the grand champion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really cool. Okay, so you two can take it away, and we are going to have a break in the middle. So be prepared for that. Bring your cookies or whatever you want to bring to the table.
Okay.
I was hoping for a couple of guests, by the way, and if they show up, that'll be nice.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna start tonight with, as usual, digital general color. And so what we're gonna do is, for Tony, you wanna share your screen?
Okay. By the way, Lynn wanted me to mention.
Tony, we're having a hard time hearing you.
We lost your voice.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Not very well, though.
Barely.
Yeah, Lynn asked me to mention that I guess it's the third Wednesday of this month, that she wanted me to share how I put together some of my images. Is that correct, Lynn?
Correct.
Yes.
Hey,
Awesome.
Tony, I can't hear you. I see your mouth moving, but there are no words coming up.
Hear
Same
me now?
here.
Yeah?
No. And then you sound tinny.
Jenny, okay, let me see if I can.
Can you turn your volume up, Tony?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do here.
And you know what? I'll tell Dorothy that you can't get on. Okay.
Let's see,
Dorothy?
volume seems to be up all the way here. I
Hey,
might have to-
Dorothy,
Yes.
Steve Shining cannot get on. Can I forward
Yes.
my email to him?
Yes. I think
Yes.
I forwarded him the wrong one is the problem.
Oh,
Yeah, why don't you do that?
so I'll
Yeah.
just minimize my screen and forward it to him? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to my settings here and see if I can.
It might help if people who really don't need to be talking would mute their microphones.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Tony, maybe we just need to,
I
you
can
just
find
need
my
to put
microphone.
your microphone near your mouth.
Testing 1, 2, 3. It looks like my audio. Oh, there it goes. Let's see. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I turned the volume all the way up, so I guess that it should be okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yes. Go ahead and share your
Okay.
screen.
Is that working?
As you started to share it.
Almost.
You are screen sharing, it says. And so are you waiting for it to show up? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
So far, it only says started sharing, screen sharing. So do you have the first image in your screen? Is that what you have?
Yes, I do. First image is up.
Did it prompt you to specify which screen or which
Yes, it
window?
did. Yes, it prompted me to specify which screen, because I have two screens. So I clicked the one that I want to show up, and that's the one with the pictures in it.
Okay.
So, because I'm looking at it right now, the first image.
Can't see it.
Yeah, so far we don't have any. Hold on.
And it says here, you are screen sharing, it says.
Well, that's what it tells us too, but we don't see any.
If I click, should I click new share? I wonder if what that would do.
See if you
Or
can.
stop share? Go ahead.
Yeah, why
I
don't
would-
you restart?
Stop
Go
and
ahead.
then start it again.
Yeah,
I stopped the share. Okay, I just stopped it.
okay,
Okay, now I'm going to hit the share screen again.
okay.
And now it's asking which screen do I want to share. It says whiteboard, photos, master score sheet, and then in the digital general color.
Okay.
But the photos has got the first image up. It's the Microsoft Photo Viewer is the one I want to use.
Okay,
So it says optimize screen sharing for video. Okay, we're not doing any video clips. Share computer sound. There's no computer sound. Okay, so I'm going to click the screen that's got the first image up.
right.
I'm going to click share. And now I'm sharing it.
Nope. Nope, we don't have anything.
Ah, there you go.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay,
All right. So
it's up.
Yeah, it's up. So our first image is a symmetry.
Okay. My first impression of this image is that it's bright and colorful. However, the time of day looks like midday or close to it. So the lighting is very harsh, and therefore it tends to take away any real drama or feeling for this image. So for me, it was kind of a harsh, contrasty shot and very ordinary. It did not have any drama to it. And usually the drama comes when you take an image like this, either early in the morning where you get nice golden light, or late afternoon where you get the same thing. And then it would make this picture jump more and be more interesting, kind of more of an eye candy type of an image. So for composition, the composition's okay, so I gave it a 3. The impact was a 3, a little on the dark side. The image, it did not have a lot of pop to it, so I gave the technical a 2.
A symmetry by Harvey Brown, 8 points.
Okay, the
Okay.
next one.
Next image.
Okay,
I think there must be a delay.
Yeah, I just have the barn up.
Do you have the next image, Tony?
this image, yeah, it's the Civil War boom shot.
Yeah, okay. So you skipped the blue crab?
Yeah, because that's mine, so I don't want to critique my image.
Well, I understand, but I actually have scores for you. We had a different judge.
Okay, all right, you want me to bring it up?
You can bring it up, and I can.
Okay, hold on.
I can just read the comments.
Let's see, where did I put it? Oh, darn it. I'm gonna have to go, because I deleted it from my downloads. I'll have to pull it up from my, hold on.
Can we go through the ones that are already sent in and so we can just run through them and make it a little smoother?
Okay, do you see it?
No.
No,
And then we could see yours later then, Tony.
Okay. Yeah, I just pulled it up. Here it is. I mean, I'm sharing it. It should be showing.
It's not.
It's not.
There seems to be a delay. I guess it maybe because it needs to travel all the way from Costa Rica.
All right, let me stop sharing it, and then I'm going to reshare it. Here, share screen. Okay. Okay, now I'm sharing again.
Okay. All right. This is Blue Crab, and this was submitted by Tony, and our alternate judge is actually David Sam. So I'm just going to read his comments. So he liked the wonderful way that the ripples and specular highlights of the water, the way they were handled in the photo. So those are the comments I got, and he gave him a score of 4 for composition, 4 for impact, and 5 for technical, for a total of 13 points.
Woohoo!
That away, Tony.
All right, I like it.
Okay, so we can move on to the next one, which is Boom.
Okay. Okay. I'm now
Not up
sharing the
yet.
next one. Is it
It's
showing up?
not up yet.
No, it's not. Maybe I'm gonna have to do it differently.
Yeah, let me stop sharing it and reshare it.
Yeah, Tamara, I was thinking about that.
And I'm resharing it.
We are. Got it.
Okay. All right. My first impression at looking at this was that there was a lot of color to it, but it seemed like it's a little too much color, a little oversaturated. And it could be my monitor, I don't know, but it does look like the colors are a little on the high side. Also, can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, this red in here doesn't look real. I don't know if the maker colored that in or did something along that line to give the what do they call it, the muzzle flash or the barrel flash of the explosion, but it doesn't look right in my opinion. Normally flashes like this are more into the yellow and they're pretty bright. Anyway, the picture also seems to me that it should have been cropped horizontally rather than vertically, just because of the direction of the cannon is pointed here to the right, and it's kind of centered, and it should be a little
Whoops.
bit left. So I would have liked to have seen this more as a horizontal than a vertical, and that for me is a little bit on the just, you might say, disturbing side. It isn't quite right for me. Anyway, compositionally wise, I gave it a 3. I mean, it's okay, but to me it feels a little confined. Impact wise, a 3, and technically, because of some of this coloring here, I gave it a 2.
Okay, Boom by Don Burnell, 8 points. Okay, Tony, what I'm gonna do, maybe I can share my screen instead.
Okay.
So that might help in our
Okay, I'm going to stop
response
sharing
time.
mine.
Yeah, go ahead and stop sharing yours. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so can you guys see the next one?
Yes.
I
Okay.
can.
All right, so this is bucolic view.
Okay. Let me just fill my screen with it. Okay, there we go.
Oops, sorry. Okay, somebody, excuse me, somebody has their TV on in the background, so would you mind muting yourself? Okay, go ahead, Tony.
Okay, similar to the other image, it's a symmetry. The picture is taken again, in my opinion, at the wrong time of day. It's still a kind of a harsh sunlight on it, which creates a very contrasty image. It appears to be either out of focus or over pixelated. I'm not sure which it is, but I would say it's probably more pixelated, meaning that the image size on this was really small and that it was enlarged and it lost its definition and lost its clarity. So from a technical standpoint, I gave this a 2. From an impact standpoint, I gave it a 2. And from a composition standpoint, I gave it a 3 because the composition is okay. I mean, the image could have been really nice had it been shot under those circumstances that I just mentioned.
Bucolic View by Catherine Alexander, 7 points. Cheer Up.
Okay. This one, my first impression as far as impact goes, is it's gorgeous. I absolutely love this image. I love the flaring out of the colors and almost has kind of a pinwheel feel to it. So from an impact standpoint, I gave it a 5. From composition, it seems to me it would be pretty difficult to mess up the composition on this one. The spiral in the center, I mean, in the middle of the image, at the lower middle of the image, is in a great spot. It doesn't really matter, I think, where it's put. I mean, it's just beautiful. So the composition, I give it a 5. And technically speaking, I can't find anything wrong with it either because I like the blur and the blend of colors. I gave it another 5.
Cheer Up by Lynn Nordhagen, 15 points. Good job, Lynn.
Nice job. Very nice job.
Okay, this one is Cowboy, which is also Tony's entry. Unfortunately, I don't have any comments. I just have scores, and it is 4s all across for a total of 12 points. Okay, and then next we have Electric Leaves.
Okay, on this one, I like the layout of the image. I mean, the composition is good. And the colors jump out at you. However, what kills it, and it's really kind of tragic, is that again we have either an issue with pixelization or focus, but it's just not a very clear, very sharp, very crisp image. So I'm not sure what it was shot with. Could have been a cell phone or so that it could be enlarged, to where it would work like this. I lost the image.
You lost the image?
I lost the image. It disappeared on my screen.
Okay, I still have it.
I have it.
I can keep talking about it because I know what it is. Let me keep talking about it.
Okay.
Anyway, from a compositional standpoint, I thought the composition was good. I gave it a 3. The impact, unfortunately just wasn't there because of the sharpness that was lacking. So I gave it a 2. And technically speaking, because of the sharpness, and then one of the leaves was kind of blown out, meaning a little over a little washed out looking. You did not have any detail to it. So from a technical standpoint, I gave it a 2.
Electric Leaves by Nancy Wagner, 7 points. Enchanted Forest.
Okay, there it is. I can see it now. Okay, it came back. I need to pull this out of the way. Okay, Enchanted Forest. My first impression of this was the yellow just kind of screams out. There's a lot of strong yellows in this image. I like the yellows. I think it's very good. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more of the foreground taken out. Crop it a little bit. That would give it more of a horizontal look, and I think it would give you more focus on the central part of the picture, which is in here in this area, which is, I think, is where you want where the maker is wanting our eye to go, is to the center. So I think it would do that more. Having too much of the foreground here, I think, kind of takes away from that. But the picture overall is a very nice presentation. I think it should be a little sharper. It seems to be a little on the soft side. So I gave it, from a compositional standpoint, I gave it a 3. The impact was a 3. And the score here was for technical, I gave it a 2 because it's just not, it's lacking the sharpness.
Did you say a 3, 4, 2?
Yeah, 3.
3, 3,
It
2.
would be a 3, 3, 2.
3, 3. Okay. That was your score on the previous entry. Electric Leaves was a 3, 3, 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, I was reading the wrong line. My mistake. Okay. This is Enchanted Forest, right?
Yes, Enchanted Forest.
Composition. Okay, composition 3, because I'd like to see a little bit more of the foreground taken out. The impact was a 4 because it does jump out. And the technical aspect of it, a 4.
Okay. So Enchanted Forest by Steve Shining, 11 points. Next is Fall Coloring.
Okay. On this one, what I'm going to do is highlight. Okay, now I can, I'm highlighting the whole column across so I can see what it is I'm doing. Okay, fall coloring. My first impression of this was the colors in the shot. The reds in the background, the blue sky, the green water, and so forth. So it's what I see, but it's also at the same time, because of the time of day, is very busy. And it's hard to distinguish one thing from another. It's almost kind of a cluttered look. And again, the best time of day to shoot something like this is going to be in the early morning or late afternoon, which seems to be, the enchanting time of day to get scenics like this. Also, the details in the ducks aren't very clear. The image is overall soft. It is not razor sharp. Again, I'm not sure what kind of a camera was used or whether the image was resized properly. And I don't know how many of you know what resizing is, but usually if you shoot an image that does not have a lot of pixels in it, low megapixels, and you want to enlarge the image and you want to preserve the sharpness, you use the resizing tools in Photoshop or whatever program you're using to increase the pixels in the image so that when you blow it up, it maintains its clarity. And in this case, it lost its clarity. And it also could be camera motion. Pictures like this, generally, because they're on a wide angle, and usually because of the brightness, using a very tiny f-stop size. You know, your lens opening is very small, and if you're hand holding it, generally your shutter speed is going to be fast enough to where capturing an image like this should be razor sharp, but it's not. So anyway, on this one, I gave it, for composition overall, I gave it a 3, impact a 3, and the
Looks like
technical aspect of it a 3.
okay. Fall coloring by Lori Pence, 9 points. Next is hello.
Okay, this one, I like images like this. I like deer shots or any kind of wildlife for that matter. And what's really nice about this is you got this deer to look at you straight ahead, so you can see his face and his expression. And unfortunately, it's the wrong time of day. Again, is, you know, catching it with harsh light like this is tough to resolve. Now, what could help this image would have been to select your deer and then darken the background or bring the background down a little bit so that the deer stands out more than it does from the background. Because some of the lighter spots back here can be a little bit distracting. And so that's one of the criticisms I have. The composition, I think, is fine. It could be, he could be a little bit more left, a little bit more over here in this side of the image. He's a little close to center, but it's not horrible. I mean, I think it's fine. Let's see. Impact is good because you're looking straight on, your eye level with the animal, and when your eyes are at the same level as the animal's eyes, it creates more interest in the image. And technically, it does seem to be soft. It does not seem to be as sharp as it could be, and maybe this was zoomed in and cropped on in the enlarging process in Photoshop or whatever program you used. So unfortunately, it's just what kills this image is the fact that it is a little on the soft side, razor sharp. It would be really nice. Also, in this area here, where there's a shadow from making this a really nice image. So from a compositional standpoint, I give it a 3. Impact, I give it a 3. And technical, I give it a 3 because of the focus. And actually, the focus is what takes away from the impact of this image, unfortunately.
Hello by Gene Alleman, 9 points. Next is inside.
Okay. When I look at these images for the first time, I look at what grabs me first. And when I saw this image, to me, the colors just stood out. It was a really nice pop of color, a nice, again, for lack of a better word, eye candy. So it's beautiful. The top of the balloon, I like it up there in the upper right-hand corner, so it's not centered, and it's diagonal like that. You have a lot of diagonal lines going through this. It's very, very nice. My only criticism of it, and this again, it's a personal thing, I might have taken out a little bit more of this shadowed area down here, and you know, maybe cropped it a little bit right about across here in this area here. But apart from that, it's a wonderful image. So from a compositional standpoint, I'm giving it a 4. And for impact, I give it a 5. And technically, I give it a 5 also. Beautiful image.
Inside by Rosemary Biziar, 14 points. Yoo-hoo. Okay, Tony, you want to make a comment about the name on the image?
Yeah, that shouldn't be there.
Okay, and I think Rosemary is a new member, and this is her first time submitting. So this is for all new members, just so you know. We don't put anything on the image that would identify the photographer.
That way I can't have a bias.
So, okay, so we will move on to our next one. And this is Laureate Reddy.
Okay. This is an interesting shot of the Laureate. I like it, my opinion. Having it vertical like that seems to frustrate me a little bit because there's a horse in the shot, and I'd like to see a little bit of the horse possibly. But even without looking at the horse, it seems to me that it would be much more interesting if this image was cropped maybe somewhere along here, across the bottom, maybe up along here, across the top, or maybe right in here, and zoomed up closer on the Laureate so that it would be more impactful, since that's what the subject is of this image. Also, the color is a little muted. It doesn't seem to pop with richness, and it doesn't seem to have a razor sharp focus on it. A little bit on the soft side, just a hair. I mean, it's not horrible. And it seems to be also lacking in contrast. It needs a little more pop to the contrast. And that's what I would say would improve this image significantly, because the subject matter is great. I mean, leather and laureates and browns and brown tones and so forth. The light source is a good light source, because this time of day, when you have a cloud cover that's creating a diffuse light on your subject, it certainly allows you to hone in and pop the contrast on it and give it some really nice richness to it in its color. Anyway, this Laureate Reddy is, I gave it a 3 for composition. I gave it a 3 for impact and a 3 for the technical aspect of it.
Laureate Reddy by Colleen Bailey, 9 points. And just as an additional comment, Tony, I was there during when this was done, and this was the smokiest day in Spokane. So that might have contributed to the diffusion of the colors.
Sure.
All right. Next one is Leeds Castle, Kent, England.
Okay. This is a very nice image from the standpoint of its colors. The fact that the colors stand out and contrast against the rest of what's here. But what bothers me is the flotsam and jetsam, if you want to call it that runs along the bottom of the screen here. And what I would think, or what I would have done with an image like this, is to eliminate it, either clone it out, get rid of it, so that the water comes right up against the green grass bank, or crop it up above the grass so it's just water at the end of the image, right along here. Crop it up here and take this whole area out, because it's such a beautiful image, and it almost looks like a moat, if I'm not mistaken. And this kind of is problematic. The rest of it seems to be a little on the soft side, but not horrible. And of course, I like the dark sky, darking, burning that in a little bit is good. The colors in through here, the greens and all that are really nice. The reflection in the water, I like the image. It's nicely done. And I would give this one from a compositional standpoint a 3. I would give the impact a 4, and the technical aspect of it, I give it a 5.
Leeds Castle, Kent, England by Dorothy Detler, 12 points. Leeds Castle, Moat.
Okay. This one, because of all of the bricks or blocks that are used to have built this, it tends to, the sharpness doesn't seem to quite be there. And so it tends to kind of mush them together and creates kind of a busy feeling to the image, which also the lighting may have something to do with it too. I know it's an overcast day and it may have been taken the same time as the other one, but somehow this composition, this image, doesn't quite have the impact or the interest that the other one did. And I think it has to do with the softness of the image and the busyness of the blocks mixed in with the green that's growing on the blocks, you know, the moss, the mold, whatever it is that's on there. The foam in the water doesn't really help either, probably because it's polluted, I don't know. But anyway, I gave this one a 3 for composition. I think it's all right, composition. The impact, a 3, and the technical aspect of it, a 3.
Leeds Castle, Moat by Dorothy Detler, 9 points. Madrona, an herbal tree.
Okay, in this image, again, the only thing that's really distinguishable is the bare part of the tree itself. This area right in here. And the rest of it, of all of this branches and foliage and all that kind of, I guess, loses the tree. The tree is kind of lost in with the rest of it. So the image, overall impression of the image is very busy. It doesn't stand out. What might have made this work better would have been a tighter shot on the tree itself so that you could see detail in the bark and in the branches that are running right along here. And I think that would help it a lot. It also seems to be a little on the soft side, out of focus or motion blur or something, but it's not as crisp as it should be. And the lighting is is flat. Again, for an image like this, there needs to be I mean, the time of day is not wrong, but in the software for processing this image, I would certainly look at increasing the contrast and bringing out the details of what's in here so that you can see it much better. So on this one, I gave let's see, hold on. I gave it a 3 foliage, and for the technical aspect, I gave it a 3 because of the flatness and the contrast and the sharp and the lacking of sharpness.
Madrona, an herbal tree by John McLaughlin, 8 points. Nebraska's state capital.
Okay, time of day is right on this one. There's no harsh lighting anywhere. I like the fact that you've got some birds flying around here on the side. You caught them at a good time. That adds a little more interest to the image. The image is slightly off center, which is good. It actually could be a little more off center and take this part of the building out. So it would just be right in here, cropped right here, and then over, up to here and then over. I think it'd be good. I could see a little more contrast and pop in this area. Up in here, it's a little bit on the flat side to give it more interest, more richness to the image. So that would be my critique on that. And it does appear to be slightly on the soft side. So I don't know, again, if that's due to focusing, camera motion, enlarging it from a much smaller image, where it lost its snap. But anyway, from a compositional standpoint, I give it a 4. Impact, I give it a 3, and the technical a 3.
Nebraska State Capitol by Terry Hamilton, 10 points. Old Friends.
Okay. This one, I think the subject are these 3 people. And that being the case, they're competing with the blocks, the stone blocks, or concrete or stone. I'm not sure which it is. Maybe it's a combination of both. But they're competing with that. And I think this image would have been better served if it was tighter, if the cropping was maybe somewhere around in here and coming down like so that you capture some of the background, because it is interesting, but not detract from them. And then adding a little more contrast to the image to boost it up a little bit, to pop the details and so forth, like in the pants here, it kind of loses a little bit. And it's just, it needs that contrast. It's just lacking in contrast. And I think cropping it tighter to make it more about the people than about the blocks would be my preference. Anyway, this one I gave a 3 for composition, a 2 for impact, because again, it's missing that interest. Also, the woman here in the center is looking away. She's looking over here at something. If she had been looking straight ahead, maybe, or maybe more towards the camera, that might have made it a little more interesting. And then 2, I gave it for this technical aspect, because the contrast needs to be more contrasty and a little sharper.
Old Friends by John Klikas, 7 points. Next is Orange Crush.
Okay, my first impression of this one was that somehow it lost its sharpness right in here, right around the green. It's very soft, and it seems like the softness extends to here. So to me, that's disturbing, unfortunately. I mean, it's a nice image. It's got nice color contrast in here from the background and the reds that are in this area. I can't decide about the bend or the fold in it right here, if that works. I mean, I guess it works from the standpoint of geometry maybe, or symmetry, but it doesn't, I don't know, it's a little bit on the disturbing side. Anyway, I gave this a 3 for composition. I gave it a 2 for impact and a 2 for technical.
Orange Crush by Lynn Nordhagen, 7 points. Pearl of the Adriatic.
Okay, this one I really like. It stands out. What I like about this is the way the lighting works. You have your sun over here off camera, and it's throwing light against the building running right along here, and then it's kicking light across here to light this up, and then it's throwing light down here on the people. So you end up with a really nice kind of a bouncing light effect, which
subsequently tested positive. Fact check number 2.
Which gives it a very nice feel for it. I gave this one, from a compositional standpoint, I like the composition. I like the fact that it's vertical because of the tower that's here. the tower kind of demands that, I think. And also this walkway running all the way up the middle also demands that this be a vertical. So the vertical is very good. I gave it a 4 for composition. For impact, I gave it a 4, and I gave it a 5 technically. Technical.
Okay,
Somebody turn their TV off.
Since evolved, March 2020, he said in a debate, no new fracking would be allowed. Then he has said he's opposed.
It's the one labeled senior
Record on this
MB iPad.
as an inconclusive statement and assertion from Senator Harris.
Major.
Dorothy, are you there?
Healthcare crisis intensive.
Yeah.
'Cause
Plans.
Dorothy
I'm here.
could,
Yeah,
no, Dorothy could you mute everybody?
I'll mute everybody and then Tony will need to turn it on.
And then Tony, you need to unmute yourself.
Presidential debate next week.
Okay.
CBS News 2020, America decides.
All right, Tony, unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay, good. All right. So that was Pearl of the Adriatic by Lori Carlton Smith, 13 points. Okay, our next one is Steep and Spooky.
Okay, this one is an interesting shot in that you've got the road starting over here on the left, and it looks like it winds off screen, then comes back onto screen, then winds around through the right side, and then back off screen again, down below, and then it comes back up, or actually it comes around over here, I think. Comes around like this, and then goes down underneath, comes up through here, and around, and then so forth, and then it trails off to infinity or wherever. You know, this one was kind of a little bit perplexing. I mean, not that it's bad or good. When the roads go off screen and then come back onto screen, I was kind of debating, you know, how well I liked that. And then I thought, well, maybe this image could be better served if it was cropped right over here with the arrow, if you can see my arrow, right over here, and then like so, and that this part of the road right here was the only part of the road that's kept. But then I got to thinking, well, wait a second. This road in here shows some detail, which the other roads don't quite show any detail because they're far off. And so I was thinking, well, maybe this is okay. Maybe this should stay in here. So I ended up liking it. And so the way it looks, and technically speaking, a 4. So I thought it was overall a very nice picture.
Steep and Spooky by Tim Lesser, 12 points. Taste Tester.
Okay, this is similar to the other deer shot, where the maker captured this part of the deer nicely, was able to get a nice frontal, actually more of a 3/4 look from the deer in here. So the eye level of the deer in relationship to the maker of the image is on par. So this makes this an interesting shot. I always like it when photographers, when they photograph animals or bugs or anything like that, that they get eye level with it. Because when you get eye level with it, then there's intrigue there, there's connection. When you're standing above an animal shooting down at it, or below an animal and shooting way up at it, a lot of the times it just doesn't work. It's too ordinary. But this one works. This works nicely. It does seem to be a little on the light side. It could be a little darkened a little bit to bring out some of the richness of the colors. The catch lights, I see them here, they're kind of faint, but they could have been selected a little bit with a editing program and brought out a little bit, made it brightened up just a little bit to create more of an eye contact with the viewer of the image. The the plant here that it's eating, to me, is a little distracting. I would have, if this had been my image, I would have cloned it out and gotten rid of it, just because it does seem to be a little distracting. And also this one weed here that's running up and crossing over the face should be cloned out or taken out completely so that it's not there. It's a little bit on the distracting side. Apart from, and down here too, I would have taken these out and just duplicated the coat of the deer here so that this looks good. Another thing too, to really add impact to these kinds of images, is to vignette the corners, darken the corners down just slightly. And then what it does is it tends to bring your attention to the animal itself, to the face or whatever it is that you want the viewer to look at, rather than the eye darting all around in this area, and through here and looking everywhere. You want it to come right here, right to the eyes, and so forth. So that's my critique of that image. And I would give it a 3 for composition, a 4 for impact, because it's right in your face, and I like that, and then a 3 for technical.
Taste Tester by Dora Davis, 10 points. Western Grosbeak.
Okay, this one's got a lot of impact too, because you've got the background completely blurred out, which separates it nicely from the subject itself, the bird. And the bird's a beautiful bird. He's leaning into the picture like he's looking around the corner. I looked at this and I thought, would this picture be more interesting if his head was more straight upright? And I looked at it and I played around with cropping it a little bit, and it didn't seem to matter much whether his head was straight up or whether it was on an angle like this. So I think that it's okay like this. I like it. The eye is sharp, and that's the most important thing when an image like this is you want to make sure eyes are sharp. And the reason for that is because first thing we generally look at when we look at some kind of an animal or creature in a picture is we go right to the eyes. Why we do that, I don't know, but it's just the way we're wired. And so going right to the eyeball is dead on right, and it's sharp. I would have liked to see the beak here in focus too. It's a little on the soft side. We lost a little bit here in the focus. So, but more importantly, the eye and the beak is kind of secondary, and maybe this yellow front here might have been a little sharper too. But anyway, it's a beautiful picture. I gave it a 3 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 3 for the technical.
Western Grosbeak by Harvey Brown, 10 points. Yawn.
Okay. The first thing I noticed about this image, and I mean, it's a great shot if it's a live elk, but he looks like he may have come from a museum, or this is a museum image. The lighting on him has kind of washed out this area in the middle of his body. And I know that the coat color is not like that. He's got more color to that, probably closer in the way this looks, the color right in here under his neck. That I think would be better served with burning down this part of the elk so that his coat comes through. He does appear to be a little on the soft side up around in this area, but that's a little bit distracting to the fact that it's not sharp enough. I guess what I'm saying is the image overall is a little bit on the light side. The subject is anyway. And if the subject were darkened down a little bit, it would also darken down the background. And if that happened, that would create a much richer, more interesting image. And it might even sharpen up the image a little bit. And sharpening tools are real important for images like this. And I don't know if sharpening was done on it. it doesn't look like it was. It also looks like he's missing some teeth. So anyway, it's a nice image apart from that. And I gave it, the composition is a 5. It's a good composition. The impact is a 4, and the technical aspect is a 3.
Yawn by Tamara McGee, 12 points. And our final image for general color is yellow lily, yellow eye lily.
Okay, this one is first impact feeling and looking at this is, wow, I love the colors. I love the softness, the pastel look that it has. Very, very nice. It's composed well coming out of the upper left hand corner, and I gave it for a compositional standpoint of 5 for that reason. The impact also, I gave it a 5 because it just was right there. I mean, it smacks pretty good of impact. And then the technical, the only thing that I could see that kind of held it back a little bit was, even though this stamen here is in focus, at least part of it, this area right here, going back to about here, and this and here's a little, is in focus a little bit, they tend to go soft. I would have liked to see a little more sharpening on this image to bring out the crispness or the sharpness of at least a couple of these stamens. Maybe here and in here a little bit, and in here, I think, and down in here might have helped it, rather than looking like it maybe wasn't quite sharp enough. But I think a sharpening tool would have fixed this. So I gave that a 4 on the technical aspect of it.
Yellow Eye Lily by Barbara Murray, 14 points. Woohoo! Okay, so at this point, we are halfway through our images. That's exactly halfway. So we're gonna take a 10-minute break. It's 8:04 right now in my clock, so we'll be back at 8:14. So you can just leave your images up there or your Zoom sessions open, and we'll be back.
Dorothy, could you unmute everybody so we can visit?
Everybody needs to unmute themselves.
Okay.
Hey, Dennis.
Don't know how we're going to tell them that.
Well, I did.
Dennis.
What was that?
Yeah, they should hear me.
Dennis.
Okay, I think you just did.
Need to unshare.
This is Colleen. Does Tony know that we don't no longer see his cursor when he's talking about how he would crop something or do whatever?
Yeah, I
We don't
noticed
see his
that
cursor
too.
anymore.
Say that again. I didn't quite catch what you were saying.
Tony, well, are you still using your cursor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not coming from your camera anymore. We don't see your cursor anymore.
Because
Okay.
it was being shown by Dennis, was
Yeah.
showing, he was doing the sharing. So your
Okay.
cursor,
Yeah.
Maybe Dennis can turn over his mouse control to me, and then
I don't know.
I think he can do it, because I did something like this with my daughter about a week ago, and she was able to turn controls of her computer over to me, and I was able to control everything. She was just watching the mouse go around. I was clicking programs and moving files around, and she was just watching it happen on her computer screen. So yeah, he can do that.
Up there on view options, one of the things is request remote control.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know how that works, but
And where is that? It's under reactions.
Dora.
at the very top of your screen, Tony,
Yeah.
it says you are viewing Dennis Esop's screen. And then right next to it in a black box, it says view options. Open up that black box.
I see Dennis's picture here. I mean, not his picture, but he looks like he's turned his video camera off. But there's a little blue box. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, it's a green box on mine that says you are viewing Dennis Esop's screen. And then right to it is view options.
Same time to see Tony give a presentation on how he does some of his images. Should be very educational and fun. And that is the only announcement I can think of right now. Anybody that would like to visit the website and email me about your experience, what you couldn't find or what you liked or whatever, that would be great. Because, you know, when you make it and you go through it the first time, you know where everything's going to be. But if you're new to it, you're potentially confused, and that's what we need to know.
Lynn, did you say it was next week that I'm doing that, or was the week after?
The week after is the print night, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, the print night is, okay, gotcha. The print night's the third Wednesday of the, okay.
Then I have you on the 14th for your presentation.
Okay.
Is that okay?
All right, that works.
Did you miscommunicate?
I just forgotten. I thought that the third Wednesdays was like the show and tell.
No, third Wednesday is this print night.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
you know, digital prints.
Probably changed since I was last attending the club meetings.
I don't know. Doesn't seem like that long ago.
It's been
a year and a
It's been 7 years.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so Dennis,
Okay.
did you have something to show us here?
Yeah, so I just wanted to take this opportunity to show, so two things. So this is the screen that you land in when you log into the system. Okay, this is your default landing page. So this is where you would submit things. So this is the image upload. So what I would like to show is up here on the monthly entries, if you click on this one, you will see thumbnails. So from September all the way to April. And so right now, we've only have an entry for September. So if you click this, you have all the images that were submitted in September. So, and they're grouped together by digital, general, and subject, and then print, general, and subject. So the color and the monochromes have been mixed together. Okay, so that's where you would see that stuff over there. Okay, and then you also have an option to look at the score sheet. So up in here, you would, if you there's a drop down, you will notice that if there's an arrow there, there's a drop down, as opposed to this one, which doesn't have a drop down. So with that arrow, you have one option. This arrow, you got two options. So in this case, your option is the entry score sheet. And this is the summary. This is the summary page of the score sheet. And down here at the bottom, can you see that? I guess not. Okay, anyway, down at the bottom, you may not be seeing it on your screen, but down at the bottom, there are tabs for the different months. So if I click on this one here, this is September. So these are all the entries for September and the respective scores. And if you look at October, if you click on October, these are all the entries for October. And so far, these are the images that were just judged in the last hour. And there are those, and there are the respective scores.
Hey, Dennis?
Yeah.
You might notice the notes I put in the column over here on the right side.
Yes, I see that. Yeah,
and that is what came to mind as I was evaluating the images and looking at how I was going to critique them and score them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's it. That's all I have to show, unless anybody has
Tony?
any questions.
Yeah.
I have a question for Tony. Tony, do you want those there? We don't have to include comments.
No, that's fine. You can because that's what I'm going off of it to remind me what it was that I saw it. So no, that's fine. It's fine to see those. I didn't insult anybody there, I don't think.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen unless anybody has questions. All right, so we will move on with the show. Our next entry is, we're now moving on to general monochrome. And our first entry is fading away.
Okay, Dennis, is there any way you can turn your mouse over to me?
No, I can't. You have to do your sharing.
Okay, I got, because I can't, using my mouse, nobody can see what it is I'm doing.
Right.
So,
unfortunately, you've got to share, and then we'd be able to see your mouse if you're the one who's sharing.
and the reason I'm asking is because I had a conference on Zoom with my daughter, and she was able to release her mouse to me. And I was able to actually work on her computer up in Montana while I'm down here in Costa Rica.
Oh, I don't know about that. Well, our in-house expert is Tamra and Dorothy. Any comments from you ladies?
Yeah. So Dennis, up at the top, if you just roll your mouse up to the top, you should get another menu that drops down. And you should be able to give control over to Tony.
Oh, okay. Like this one here?
All the way up to the top of the screen.
We won't be able to see it, Dennis.
Oh,
Only
you
you'll
won't.
be able to see it.
Oh, okay. I see it now.
And then once you give him control, you'll actually both have control. You'll have little
Okay.
initials next to your mouse.
I think I grant it to you now, Tony.
Okay, and I
you
think what I have to do is click on the screen and I get it.
Okay, you're moving the cursor now.
Okay, great.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm gonna.
No problem.
I'm gonna mute everybody again, so you'll need to unmute.
Okay. Okay, done. Okay, now do I still have the control? It says, please move this window away from the shared application.
Hold on.
Which window?
There, can you see it now?
Let's see. Do I? Yeah, okay, I've got your mouse, but this needs to move, it says. No. You see that? You see that?
I see.
Yeah, it says, please move this window away from the shared application. I don't know what they mean. What window?
I see that, but I don't know what to do.
Anybody?
Oh, it's fading out.
Okay. Now it's coming back.
Now it's coming back.
And I don't have your mouse anymore.
Hold on. Well, it still says that you are controlling the mouse.
Okay, I'm moving it back and forth across the image. Can you see my mouse or see the mouse I'm moving?
No. I'm gonna stop your control. Oh, there you go. I see your mouse.
Okay. I've got it. Okay.
Okay.
We're good. All righty. This one is fading away. This is an interesting image. I'm trying to, when I first looked at it, I was thinking, okay, I like the way it feels, but it seems to be a little bit flat. But again, it's my opinion, and I'd like to see a little more contrast in this, a little because we're dealing with what, black and whites now, aren't we? Yeah.
Yes, monochrome.
So this is all monochrome, and usually in monochrome, you want things to be a little bit, you want the blacks to be blacker and the whites to be whiter if there's blacks and whites in the image, not all just gray tones. So I gave it from a compositional standpoint, I would have liked to see it cropped a little tighter, maybe a little like along here and then down here to bring out the subject matter a little bit more. So I gave it a 3 for composition. Impact got my attention, so I gave it a 4 on impact. But technically, it seems to be somewhat either over, I don't know, over enhanced or something down along and through here. It's got kind of an edgy feel to it, and that was a little bit disturbing since the image was, I think, intended to give kind of a soft feel to it. So I gave that a 2 on technical.
Fading Away by Nancy Wagner, 9 points.
Okay, so I guess I can advance it here.
Go ahead. There you go. Fishing.
Okay. Again, on this one, the black and white seems to be lacking in the rich blacks and whites that the black and white photography is supposed to have. And if you're using a software program, which I'm assuming whoever made this image, it was using it, you need to try the various filtration or filters that are designed for black and white so that it can bring out rich shades of gray. For example, that tends to lighten greens in an image, or a red filter which tends to take blues and turn them very dark, or a orange or yellow filter for skies and things like that, which tends to give you that rich tonal range from a rich black to a white with detail. And generally it doesn't seem like it has that in this image. It's lacking, it's kind of a monochrome, like it looks like it was desaturated from using a desaturation tool rather than converting it to a true black and white, rich black and white tonal image. So it's lacking there. The composition is okay. It could be a little tighter, but I wouldn't fault it for that. I give it a 3 on composition. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 on composition. The impact, I think if it had been a little tighter, maybe a little more contrast, and creating and using those filters to bring out the rich blacks and whites, the impact would be better. But instead, the impact is kind of okay. So I gave it a 3. And the technical is, again, dealing with the black and white filtration is missing, so I gave that a 2. And also, one little thing that's disturbing is the fishing rod here is blurred, and I'm gathering he's moving it or shaking it, but it's going right across the swan's face, across his beak and into the neck of the other one, and that's a little bit disturbing too. If this had been shot with a faster shutter speed, then the boy could have been moving the rod around and it wouldn't have mattered. It would have been a straight, solid image. However, you want to avoid catching it where the animals are right in front of it to where it looks like the rod is crossing right across the animals and blocking them. So anyway, I gave this a 3 for composition, a 3 for impact, and a 2 for technical.
Fishing by John Klikas, 8 points. You have control, Tony?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mystica Look.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is upside right, upside down. how I'm supposed to be looking at this, but if this is the correct presentation, it doesn't look right. It's disturbing to see it upside down like this. The black and white, again, it needs to be crisper. It needs to have a little more of a pop to it. And again, using contrast filters, black and white filters to bring that out and to play with those a little bit to bring it out. The kind of drawing, painting, pastel, watercolor type of effect that's done on it might be a little overdone. It doesn't work for me. I think I'd rather see the grasshopper as a real grasshopper, or if it's to look more like a painting, then I guess make it look more that way. But anyway, this one, I would like to see it. Well, I don't know how you can maybe crop it. If this image was turned as a vertical and this were the top here, I would probably crop it right along this edge here, right along here. Because there's a little bit of wasted space in here that doesn't really need to be there, I don't think. But anyway, I give it a 3 for composition, a 3 for impact, and a 3 for technical.
Mystica Look by Don Burnell, 9 points. Go ahead, Tony. Okay, next is Old Highway.
I need to wake up. It was infrared or an infrared type of filtration to make it look this way. It might be a little overdone from the standpoint of its brightness. It's lacking detail in the field here, which I would have liked to have seen more detail here and also in this area. The fact that it's all whitish, I think is okay. I don't have an issue with that, but I'd like to see detail in this, and the detail is missing. And the wispy clouds are really nice. The dark sky is nice. I like that. The fence that's moving along the bottom of the screen, I kind of wants to follow that and see where it goes. I think overall it's nicely composed. Maybe a little less sky up here, cropping it maybe along about here. Might make it a little more interesting, a little more rectangular, a little bit more of a wide scene, panorama type of a scene to it. So I gave it a 3 for composition. I'm sorry. This is Seahurst Park, right? No, it's Old Highway.
No, Old Highway.
Old Highway, okay. Yeah, a 3 for composition, 3 for impact, and 3 for technical.
Old Highway by Butch Shop, 9 points.
Okay.
Seahurst Park.
Okay, with this one, if you'll notice, there's detail in the snow. The snow is white, but there's detail. It's not blown out. It's not washed out. This whole image is actually quite nice. It looks like it's another. Maybe this is another infrared where this it's actually green. It's not snow. It looks like snow, but it may not be. But this one works a lot better, I think. Let's see, Seahurst Park. The composition is good. Maybe I would have cropped it a little bit here along the bottom. Take a little bit of this white out because it does tend to pull your eye down. And I think maybe the eye would want to be going up in here more to see this area. Did I lose your mouse?
We lost your mouse, yeah. I don't know why.
Let's see. What is all this? Okay. Yeah, the mouse is gone.
Okay, you've got control. There you go.
There we go. All right. So at any rate, Seahurst Park, I gave it 3 for composition, 3 for impact, and 3 for technical.
Seahurst Park by Butch Shop, 9 points. Okay, let me move on to our next folder. All right, so tonight we're moving on to subject color, and our subject for tonight is country roads. And our first entry is a long and winding road. You have control, Tony?
Not yet. Did you turn it over to me?
Okay. You should have it. There you go.
Okay. All right, this image, I like the warm tones to it, taking it a good time of day. It does seem to be a little on the light side. Maybe it needs a little more contrast. But apart from that, it tends to be interesting, especially if you're trying to bring out the detail in the rocks. A little more contrast might help it out a little bit. But it's a cloudy day, and you've got kind of a diffuse sunlight falling on it, so it's not real harsh. It's not bad. I do find that the road tends to compete with the background. It's almost a little bit lost in here. It needs a little more something to bring it out, a little more contrast or whatever to bring the road out so it doesn't blend in too much with it. The road is a little bit lost. Now, sometimes if you crop it and such, if you want to make it more about the road, you could crop it over here along this side of the image, cropping it here down to the bottom, maybe across like this and up. And then therefore the road would become more pronounced. Where here you're standing back a little bit and the road is not nearly as pronounced, so it kind of loses it a little bit. However, I think it is well composed. I gave it a 4. The impact was a 3, and the technical aspect of it a 3.
A Long and Winding Road by Tim Lesser, 10 points. Denali Park Road.
Okay, this has got some nice color to it from the standpoint of pastels. It's a nice time of day to catch a lot of this. I like the mountains in the background. Your eye goes right to it, and the road kind of takes you right to the mountains. So that's all. This should be cropped a little tighter, and if it were cropped somewhere along the top up here, keeping some of the wispy clouds in there, bringing it down, cropping it about like so, and cropping it over, I think it would bring it up here like so. I think it would bring the mountain and the road closer to the viewer and make it more about the road than about the mountains. That's my critique, what I think about it. I gave it, for composition, I gave it a 3, impact of 4, and the technical aspect a 3. And the reason I did that on the technical was this could have a little more contrast to it, a little, to lighten it up and to just bring it up just a little bit in this area here to make it pop a little bit more than it does.
Did you do
Yeah,
this course?
Yeah, 3, 4, and 3.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
4 impact.
Denali Park Road by Rosemary BCR, 10 points. And next, Harvest Road.
Okay. This is a very nice panoramic open view. It looks like it could be the Palouse. And I like the windmills up there. That It's a it tells an interesting story. It's off to the left, and this road takes you straight up like this. Your eye follows it around and goes right to the house and the barn or the silo. So this is very nice image. The critique on it would be that there might be a little too much space over here. That if this was cropped right about here, then the image becomes more about the road and the house that it leads to. And the windmills are kind of adds, more interest to the shot, tells more of a story about what's going on here. And that I would say would be my only critique of this would be this area right here taking this out. The rest of this is beautiful the way it is. So on the composition, I gave it a 3, but the impact, I gave it a 5, and the technical aspect of it, I gave it a 5.
Harvest Road by Elaine Guidoni, 13 points. Ooh.
Okay.
All right. Next is Hell's Road.
Okay, this is a beautiful area. I'm not quite sure where it is, but it's Utah maybe or Arizona. But it's a very nice scenic area. And it also looks like there's cloud cover, which is maybe fast moving clouds, which is lighting up part of the area. Like for example, this area here is lit by the sun. Did I lose the mouse again?
Hold on. Okay, you should have it, but let's see. Where were we? Over here. Okay, do you have it?
Okay, let me click here. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you have the sunlight and it's somewhat diffused, but it looks like it's hitting this area. And then you have clouds right over in this area, fast moving clouds probably. And of course, clouds covering this. So it's kind of a sort of on a larger scale, a kind of a dappled light. But it does tend to flatten the contrast. And the contrast, I believe, needs to be brought out so that you can,
Good evening. Welcome to Tucker Carlson.
okay, hold on. Okay, so all of this area here and here, the trees could be lightened up just a little bit to bring out some of the detail. This is light enough back in here. The detail is fine. It could be just a little more contrast, but these could be lightened up a little bit, the trees in the foreground, to bring out some of the detail in the trees to make it more interesting. Now the road here, since the subject is a country road, it's kind of like insignificant when it comes to the picture. And it seems to me that this picture is more about all of this than it is about the road. So I would have made a tighter crop on this and brought it in so that the road becomes more predominant in the image. So for the overall image, I gave it a composition of 3. The impact is 3. And the technicality of it is, the technical aspect is 3.
Hell's Road by David Powers, 9 points. Joyride.
Okay. This is another very soft, dappled light shot, kind of like the other one, where you have probably fast moving clouds. You have sunlight kind of popping through here and some sunlight over here. Clouds right in this area. Did I lose the mouse again?
I wonder why. Okay.
Okay, I got it back. Okay, so sunlight here, which is not a bad thing at all, but what helps it is a little more contrast, again, to pop this this up. It was more about the foreground here or more about the road and the bicyclist. And to me, the interest really is over here with the bicyclist and the road. Had this image been cropped across maybe here, maybe some of the sky in there, but along here and then down, whoops. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Okay. If this had been cropped more over here to include the road and less of this over here, I think it would have been a more interesting image. Instead of so much of this foreground here. I mean, it's pretty, but it doesn't seem to make the image. So on this one, I would give the composition a 2, the impact a 3, because the impact is good. I mean, it's not great, but it's good. And the technical aspect of it, a 4, because the colors are good, the clarity is good, all of it is nicely done, that aspect of it. So a 2, a 3, and a 4.
Joyride by Lori Carlton Smith, 9 points. Just around the corner.
Okay, this one here, I understand what the maker was trying to do here in trying to create this road coming right out of the bottom of the screen and then moving around so that your eye can follow it and give you kind of something to kind of follow around and look at. But the issue with it is that I feel that there's too much of this foreground here. It doesn't need to be here. And this picture could be made more of a horizontal if it was cropped right here and then going up like this and then coming across the top and back down again. So cropping the bottom out, I think would make it more dynamic. It would give it more of a wide angle look, and it would give it that you still have the road there becoming, you know, the main subject, but there'd be less of this here with the gravel and all that. 'Cause I don't think the gravel and the texture of the road here really helps this image at all. Also, the weeds up in here could have been burned down just a little bit to bring out some of the detail in the weeds, and maybe just a slight bit of sharpening to pull it up. Or if it was sharpened, maybe a little more sharpening. But anyway, I gave this a 3 for composition. The impact was 2 because it was just too ordinary looking. It needed to have something different about it, as I mentioned, the things I mentioned previous, to make this image a lot more interesting. So therefore, the impact, I think, was lacking. The time of day, too, is a little bit tough. I know it looks like it's moving towards the afternoon based on the shadow that's falling across the road, but it's a little bit on the harsh side. And then the technical aspect of it, I give it a 3 because it needs a little burning here. And maybe the color could be tweaked just a little bit to make it a little warmer, to give it more of a feel for late afternoon.
Just Around the Corner by Evelyn Georgeson, 8 points. Oops.
Did I go too far?
Yes.
Okay.
Lakeside Country Road.
Okay. Again, following the road to leading to somewhere. We don't know where it's going. Along the lake, I gather. One of the issues that I have here is my eye seems to compete with the road and the lake and the sky. They call things like this hotspots, where you have a bright area because your eye seems to always go to the brightest spot in an image first. So whenever you set your eye on some kind of an image and you look at it, your eye goes to the bright spots. And in this case, the sky here is competing so much with the rest of the image that it's hard to block the sky out to be able to see that you've got a road as your subject. And the lake is nice. But again, it's also kind of get down and then bring it across like this so that it's more about the road. And it's not competing. Also, to make the sky more interesting, I would burn the sky in because it's not, it's too light. And I can see that there's cloud detail in here. And probably with the naked eye, it looked like the sky was much more dramatic than what the camera captured. And if you shot it on RAW, the cloud detail is probably there. And by using the burning and dodging techniques of Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever, you can bring this detail out so that the sky is more dramatic. So this one, I gave it a 2 for composition, 3 for impact, and 2 for technical.
Lakeside Country Road by Dennis Smith, 7 points. Less traveled. Oh, you went one too far.
I
There
tapped
you
it
go.
twice.
There you go.
Okay.
Less traveled.
Okay, as a vertical, I think it works. Again, we have an issue with the time of day. It's the direct sunlight's harsh, and the image, because of all the weeds in the road, kind of makes it busy and hard to distinguish that there's a road there. I mean, obviously there's a road there because you cropped it for the road, but it's still, it doesn't have that punch to it. It needs something to bring it out. And maybe this isn't the right road to use for something like this. Making the image a little warmer, a little to the yellow side would help. Taking the sky out would bring the, in other words, crop the sky out, would bring the road out a little bit more so you can see it. It just doesn't seem to have any center of attraction. If I was looking at this image and not knowing that it was the subject of the month, I would try to figure out or try to understand what it was that the photographer was wanting me to see, and I can't see it. So I gave it a 3 for composition because it's okay the way it's composed. The impact is lacking because it looks, the lighting is too harsh and too flat, too contrasty, too direct sunlight. I gave it a 2 for that, and technically speaking, I gave it a 3.
Less Traveled by Lori Pence, 8 points. Main Street.
Okay, this one, it's an overcast, stormy, looks like a stormy, about to rain day. And the lighting is very subdued. I would like to have seen it, again, a little more contrast put into it to bring it out, to bring out the detail in the road, and maybe in the is this a wheat? In the wheat here that's growing, to bring it out and make it more more clear. It could be a little sharper. I don't think it has the sharpness that it needs to make this stand out. The sky, I like the sky, but there might be a little too much sky in it, especially if it's more about the road going to the house here. So if you take a little bit of the sky out and crop it maybe about here, I think would make it a little bit better and make it less of a distraction and make this more your center of interest here. So I gave it a 3 for composition, a 3 for impact. It needs a little more punch to make it more impactful through contrast and maybe lightening the image a little bit. And then the technical aspect of it, I also gave it a 3.
Main Street by David Powers, 9 points.
Oops.
Oops.
Did I lose the mouse again?
Hold on. Let me. Okay, this one is you have control, and it is Old Dyke Road. Oops, went too far.
It's the image is dark. Okay, there we go. Is this it?
No, you want to go back.
Old Dyke Road. Let's see. Let me back it up.
Yep, there you go. Old Dyke Road.
That's it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this one, I like the warmth that was here, because normally images like this, if you just shoot it and white balance it the way cameras like to do, through the auto white balance, it tends to make these kind of images more bluish because of the sky. But I like the fact that it's been warmed up a little bit. These 3 dots here, or 3 patches of grass or whatever it is, it's a little bit distracting. It could have been cloned out so that it looks like the rest of the road. The fact the road goes off and turns off here is, you know, your eye follows the road. It looks good. I'd have liked to seen this more as a horizontal, more of a horizontal. I mean, it is a horizontal, but even more, where it would be cropped maybe right about here. And maybe the sky could stay, or possibly take the sky completely out and crop it right across here, so that the sky does not compete with what you've got going on down here. It needs a little more contrast. It's not got all the contrast I think it could have. Let's see here. But apart from that, it's not a bad image. I would give it a 3 for composition. The impact, I guess it needs a little bit more punch to it. I give it a 2. And technically, I give it a 2.
Old Dyke Road by Steve Shining, 7 points.
Okay.
And this is On the Road with Dad.
Okay, this is a nice shot from the standpoint of the story it's trying to tell, with the dad and his son taking a walk. And even shooting it from behind like this, I think it works, because you don't really need to know who it is, but you need to know what they're doing, and this I think tells us the story. From a technical standpoint, it's a little bit, again, I think it needs more contrast. It needs more light. It needs to be a little brighter than it is. Its sharpness, it could be a little sharper. And it's a little to the blue. And I'd like to see it a little warmer by adding, you know, yellow filtration to it. Yellow filtration tends to warm it up, or you know, yellow color balancing, adding a little more to the yellow, because yellow and blue are opposite of each other on the color scale. And so if you slide it a little bit to the yellow side, it'll warm this up and look very nice. The sky up here is a little distracting. I would have gotten rid of it and cropped it below the skyline, and probably cropped it along the side more like here, because there's a lot of road here that I don't think needs to be there, especially if the story is about him on the road, rather than making it more about the road than them. Because you have them close in the image, they're, you know, close to the cameraman. They take a major role in this image. So I would capitalize on that, and then crop it probably right up here to get the sky out of there, so that your eye doesn't wander up here, because this becomes another hotspot distraction. Anyway, I gave this one a 3 for composition, a 3 for impact, and a 3 for technical.
On the Road with Dad by Terry Hamilton, 9 points. Out in the Boondocks.
Okay, this one, beautiful mountain back here. And the construction, what is this, tractors? so forth. It looks like they've been sitting around for a while, gathering dust or rust or whatever. The cropping looks a little too tight here on this side for the tractor. The image also looks a little harsh, a little too contrasty. Maybe it's the time of day. Because again, this time of day is a photo. I didn't mention this earlier, but there are books that tell you how to take images that are shot like this, where you've got great subject material, but the lighting is just not flattering. It's too ordinary, it's too harsh. And how to take an image like this and fix it so that it becomes dramatic and gives you that eye candy appeal. But this one unfortunately doesn't have it. The sky, I think there's a little bit too much sky, and that might have been better served cropping it up here like this, up along the top. And then down here, the fence seems to compete with the tractors, and then the road is kind of incidental. And if this was more about the road, the country road, it doesn't really do that. I mean, it's in the picture, but it doesn't really tell the story of a road so much. So it's kind of it's an ordinary picture. It's not terrible. Oh, it's not really sharp either. It's lacking sharpness, and I'm not sure why that is. These kind of images should be in focus because of the wide angle nature of the shot and the time of day and shutter speed and so forth. It should be a sharp image, even if you're hand holding it. Anyway, I gave it a 3 for composition. The impact, I gave it a, let's see.
No.
No, I'm on the wrong one, aren't I?
Yeah.
This is Summer Road, right?
Out in the boondocks.
Out in the boondock. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Okay, okay, I got it. Out in the boondock. Okay, composition 2, impact 2, and technical 2.
Out in the Boondocks by Sister Madonna, 6 points.
Okay.
Next is Right of Way.
Okay. This image, now even though it's shot at the wrong time of day, I mean for scenics, it doesn't matter with a shot like this. I mean, certainly late afternoon light would be awesome on the buffalo like this, but it's not necessary because you've got a story going on here of the buffalo crossing the road, which makes it a very interesting scene. And you've got the truck on the other side stopped to let the buffalo pass. So to me, this image is more about the truck and the buffalo and the road, because the road is definitely a key factor in this since it dominates a big portion of it. But this car and motorcycle rider here, I think are a distraction. I think that they are killing the shot, even though it looks like you want to have I think the maker was wanting to have the two cars on either side of the road, showing that there's a real serious need to stop here. But I don't think it works leaving the motorcyclist and the car here. Also, the buffalo, this particular buffalo, he's kind of cut in half. I would probably have removed him completely through cloning him, take him completely out. Because I think if he was taken out and you put the weeds along here and the rest in the road, I think it would open the shot up to where interesting. Anyway, I give it a 3 for composition. Impact, I gave it a 4 because it definitely has got the impact. And the technical aspect of it, I gave it a 3.
Right.
It does seem to be, one last thing. It does seem to be a little soft on the focus, just a hair soft. Okay.
Okay. Right of Way by Courtney Litwin, 10 points. Summer Road.
Type of a look. Again, I think we've got more road up here in the foreground than we need. And if it was cropped right about here, it would make the picture more rectangular, more panoramic in its look. I like it. It would also bring the sign up to be more in view, stronger anyway, to suggest that the road is not drivable in the wintertime. I like the fact that the road leads to the trees out here. And maybe a little less sky, cropping a little bit of the sky out. And the clouds, of course, if you want to really make them look ominous, you can always burn them in a little bit and bring out the detail in the cloud cover. The shade of color, the tone, the neutral color tone is okay. Anyway, I gave it a 3 for composition, 3 for impact, and 3 for technical.
Summer Road by John Lepper, 9 points. And this is our last entry for subject color, Yellow Grass Road.
Okay. Again, we have the road as your main subject and going straight up the middle. Well, and it kind of winds around and goes to we don't know where. So your eye definitely wants to go up here. Again, to me, here I think the lighting is a little too harsh because you've got these lighter areas here and lots of detail here. And then you have these dark patches here with no detail in them. So you have a kind of a back and forth harsh looking, which tends to give the image sort of a busy, contrasty look. It does look like there's a little bit of yellow added to it, which I think works. I don't mind that at all, and maybe it's to make the weeds look even more dead than they are. But that would be my critique of this one is for the most part is the loss of detail and the over contrastiness, which causes a busyness. And then no detail here in the trees at all. So, or very little. So I would give this a 3 for composition, 2 for impact, and 2 for technical.
Yellow Grass Road by Colleen Bailey, 7 points.
Okay, I'm looking for the little arrow. It looks like I might have lost it.
Okay, hold on. Let me change folders here. So we're now moving on to our next category, which is subject monochrome. And we have 4 entries. You should have control. And this first one is coming and going.
Okay. Okay, this image, I think, it's pretty squarish. And we have a road down here winding through the country, and I like that. But again, since the subject matter is the road, it should be more about the road than the rest of this stuff here. And to achieve that would have been just a simple adjustment of cropping, which I would have cropped maybe this right about across the mountains, right about here. And maybe taken out some of this. And I don't know if this car is necessary. It could have been cropped maybe right across here. Then you have more of a wide angle shot. You have it more about the road winding through and less about all of this. which I think all of this competes with this. So I gave it a 3 for composition because it does work. I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, it's okay. I gave it a 4 for impact because I like the windy road like this. I think the impact is good. I mean, it does draw you in to look at what's going on. And I gave it a 3 for technical. It could use a little more, and what I mean by that is it could use, again, a little more contrast, a little more detail in the plant life here, and maybe I think that would do it. Again, all these black and white images should actually use some of the black and white filters that are made for color images and turning them black and white to give them that rich tonal range, which this image borderlines on doing that. It's not quite, I think, where it should be, but it's okay.
Coming and Going by Tamara McGee, 10 points. Into the Storm.
Okay. The cloud formation in this is phenomenal. The road is there and definitely is strong in this image. But I think that while the impact of the clouds is really great, this seems to be more about the clouds than the road. And if you want the impact of the clouds and still be about the road, the solution to it would be to crop some of the clouds out. If you cropped it right about here, right across here, and make it a wide shot, which it would become, and all this upper stuff is gone, you still have all of this dramatic cloud formation here, which then brings the road, like as it is, I think still is overbearing when this is to be more about the road than the clouds. So I gave it a 4 for composition because I do like the composition. I mean, if you wanted this picture to be about the clouds and not the road, then I would say the composition of this is really good. I mean, it's not bad. It's really good. And so I give it a 4. The impact is a 5 because when you look at this, it automatically grabs your eyes and just pulls you right in. I mean, it's just very dramatic and very attractive or attracting. So I give it a 5. And the technical, I give it a 4 because I think it could be sharpened just a little bit more.
Into the Storm by Elaine Guidoni, 13 points. Woo-hoo. Good job, Elaine. All right. Next is...
Yeah, I don't have the...
No, okay.
Okay, there we go.
Next is Just Around the Corner.
Okay, this one also, like the others, it's got some impact, it's got some contrast. I like the contrast of this one. I mean, it could use a little bit more. There is a little bit of gray tones in here, maybe a little too much, you know, in these areas here. It could be brought out again using color filtration or black and white filtration. The road, I like following the road around like it does. And I think, again, we may have a little too much sky in here. I probably crop out some of the sky. The clouds it's a big cloud here and a very dramatic looking cloud. And I like that. But I don't think you need all of it there. And if you do that, if you take out some of this, I think it'll make the image more about the road. So I gave it a 4 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 3 for technical.
Just Around the Corner by John Lepper, 11 points. Okay. And our last entry for the evening is out there.
Okay. I can see what the maker was trying to do with this image in trying to give these flowers in the foreground some interest, while the mountain in the background is beautiful. But the image is lacking in impact. It's lacking in a punch. The flowers are very soft. They don't seem to have any real definition or focus to it, and neither does the mountain, unfortunately. It's very soft in its focus, or I should say the volcano. Looks like a volcano. What is it, Rainier? But anyway, it doesn't work for me. Now the road is over here off kind of in the background, and it doesn't really have much to do with the image. And is maybe even a distraction. If this were to be done where the subject matter was the road, then the camera angle, and then this back here could be more out of focus or more blurred, more soft focus. But in either case, everything seems to be competing with each other, and it doesn't attract, it doesn't pull you into the image. So the fact that it's soft focus, out of focus, pixelated, it could be a cell phone picture, but it just doesn't have the resolution to it that it needs for image sharpness. So I gave it a 2 for composition, a 2 for impact, and a 2 from a technical standpoint.
Out There by Sister Madonna, 6 points. All right. I think that's what we have for tonight. And I certainly look forward to your session next week. Tony.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody, for coming. Thank you, Tony, very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
I hope it helped. Hope it wasn't too brutal.
We'll let you explain all of those items next week in your teaching time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.